it is.
Okay.
All right, all quiet on set. We're going live here in 5, 4, 3, 2,
1.
hey, 1.
Welcome everybody to another episode of Dr. Reese Live.
Yeah.
I am your host, Coach Sean. Alongside with me is the full crew. We have Coach Karen in the members room.
Hello.
And we have Coach Tamra in the
Howdy.
socials. Thank you both for being here.
Our Harry Potter representative.
Yeah. And of course, we have the head to toe healer himself, Dr. Reese. How you doing tonight?
I'm good. I am now 16 chapters deep on the new book. I believe last Tuesday I was 8 chapters deep. So
Wow.
got some more miles on these hands. So yeah, it's coming along, and it's a fun process.
You still planning for 20 chapters?
Yeah, it'll be about 20 chapters, give or take. And it's going to be short and sweet, just like Peace Over Pain. Just, you know.
Wow. A 4th book.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So,
And we got a clip from the Sunlight Sunny pilot today.
are you going to show it?
No. But apparently Mr. Junkerson's arms are long.
They're not only long. They're like a tree trunk.
Yeah. But I think children will like it. You know, we're not trying to impress us. We're trying to impress, a 2-year-old, right? So big long arms,
Yeah, it was a little long.
Okay.
But, I wasn't, it's a kid's show, so
Well, what about Barkley's eye patch? Kids like an eye patch, right?
I don't know. I don't know what kids like these days.
Well, we need to be able to have costumes for a healthy Halloween.
No, I do. I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with the eye patch. But we just got to see,
No pun intended.
Oh,
Gotta see.
got to see. You got any more updates?
No, that was it.
Okay.
That was my update.
The book's coming out.
Sunlight Sunny's coming, at least the pilot episode. And people have till December 1st to get into the membership at the same price.
Don't forget, if you have not enrolled already, call drreese.com is your site to do so. I know we have a pretty special topic for today. You wanted to talk about medical errors.
Mm.
And this is especially special. That's a saying. That you have excerpts from your book on it. And so you've done a whole chapter on medical errors.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, people might be surprised to know that it's the 3rd leading cause of death in America.
Yeah.
I don't know about the world, but in America, it is number 3. That's behind cardiovascular disease and the sea monster.
Hmm.
Besides those 2 diseases, it is doctors. And that's just flat out a little scary.
Yeah, coming into work drunk or high.
Yep.
Sleep deprived.
Sleep deprived. Yep.
Which I don't think that's healthy at all. Those doctors, or I think it's just nurses, or I don't know. Mostly doctors or nurses working those 12-hour night shifts.
Yeah.
And what, you got to sleep in the day?
Right. It's crazy hours. And the young doctors, too, in med school coming out for their internships and such. And they're just working long hours, man. Long hours.
Yeah. My college was like, it was like a nursing central, and nurses and doctors would go there, and you would just see them up all hours of the night using the study rooms and stuff.
Mm.
And it just didn't look like anything I wanted to do. You know, it's like they're studying to become like slaves, essentially. It's just
that's the thing is, you have to assume that at 16, 15, 16 years old, they have a dream of being a healer and having the status of a medical doctor. But it doesn't take long to realize that they're not a healer. They're a stabilizer. They don't heal you, they stabilize you, and then they manage your pain. And it doesn't, just some years into the job, a lot of them have to ask themselves, am I doing more harm than I am good?
You won't believe how many nurses I come into contact with that said that to me. Like they got in a private room and we were just talking and they said like, I don't know, like if I'm doing the right thing sometimes.
Right.
Nurses.
That's tough.
So that's insane.
It's tough. Yeah. And, in med school, they're really trained to match diagnosis with drugs, injections, or surgeries. Those are the only 3 options.
Yeah.
There's no other option. And
You were bringing up sometimes they overtest.
they overtest, yes. So this is called defensive medicine. So defensive medicine is when they don't want to get a lawsuit. Keep in mind, every medical doctor has malpractice insurance.
Mm-hmm.
The monthly premium is at a certain amount. But if you get a lawsuit, your premium is going to go up. It's no different than car insurance or health insurance. If you have a pre-existing condition, you're going to have a more expensive premium. So the medical doctor does not want to get sued. So what does he do? He overtests.
Yeah.
Because if he doesn't overtest, the patient could be like, well, this guy didn't do this, he didn't do that, he didn't do this, he didn't do that. This is malpractice.
Wow, really?
So if he overtests, that means he's going to end up overdiagnosing because you're going to find abnormalities. Everyone has abnormalities, and that's one of the things I talk about in the book. It's a very, very important point that I'm trying to help people understand. It's very difficult to understand because they need to unplug from their programming to understand it, that the body goes through cycles of abnormalities. So if you're constantly getting blood work and you're constantly getting scanned and you're going through all these tests, they're going to find something.
Yeah.
I'm 45 years old. I've been at a computer for a long time, right? If I got a scan done on my spine, you think there's not damage on the spine? Of course there's damage on the spine.
Mm-hmm.
But people don't recognize that abnormalities are normal. So they go, and then the medical doctor is going to overtest with defensive medicine, and then he's going to overdiagnose. And guess what that does? It makes the medical monopoly more money. So it's a cycle. Because now you're running people through more machines. You're running people through more blood tests. And if they do find an abnormality, it's in their unwritten law that they have to treat it. So now the person is getting a treatment too on top of it. So this is generating money, money, and money, and money. It's a cycle. It's a very vicious cycle. And if people don't unplug, they're just going to go around and around and around. And obviously, doctors make mistakes. If they're the third biggest killers in America, they obviously make mistakes. And the mistakes can be horrifying. I remember you were on the Zoom call with me. Our client Blondie, wherever Blondie is, shout out to Blondie. I remember her telling us, because she was like a surgical assistant.
Yeah.
I remember her telling us that one day the surgeon closed up the patient, walked out of the room, and came back like, oh no, he left the gauze in the person. So he had to open the person back up and get the gauze out. This is pretty significant. Now, okay, you're human, you make mistakes. It's like, all right, glitch in the matrix, you put the refrigerated item in the cabinet. All right, you aren't thinking in that moment, whatever, but this is a human body that's cut open. So what was to blame? Is it a lack of mindfulness? Was he having an argument with his wife or something and he was just distracted? Was he sleep deprived? Or was he high? Was he drunk? And some people might be like, high or drunk? Why would my doctor be high or drunk? No, they're high and drunk.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because they have a horrible career. They're basically soldiers on the front line. They're seeing death and destruction every day. And unless they're in the emergency room, they really can't do anything about it. Like if they're a primary care physician or a specialist, drugs, injection, surgeries. So it might work. It might work on the first try. The patient comes in. They go, oh, yeah, I'm going to match you up with this drug. We got this drug. Okay. Patient comes back 2 months later. Doc, not only do I not feel better, but I have 3 extra symptoms. And the doctor goes, oh, all right, we'll switch this out and we'll do this other. 2 months later, they come back. Doc, I'm not, what's going on here? That's when the doctor gets challenged. No, it's genetics. I don't know what to tell you, And so this is a very stressful life. So a lot of them end up with drinking issues or drug issues. They end up on their own drugs. Opioids. Right?
Yeah.
Take painkillers to get high. And they can prescribe it to each other. So you can't prescribe it to yourself, but you can, I'm a doctor, you're a doctor, we're friends, we're buddies. Hey man, let me get that stuff. Can you hook me up, I'll hook you up, And so a lot of them are drunk and high. You'd be surprised.
Oh. Does misdiagnosis fall into these categories as well?
Well, the misdiagnosis is just not wanting to get sued. But it's also the programming, the brainwashing of the patient. Because why would a patient want to be diagnosed in the first place? What's the yearning inside of you that wants a diagnosis? What's the yearning of, just give me my 4 or 5 syllable word and I'll, go do a 5K walk and we'll raise money. So it's like the whole idea of diagnosis is wrong to begin with, because you should be going after the body from head to toe. And of course we do that with our head to toe analysis, but
I feel like I give the illusion that once you get your diagnosis, that's when all your problems will disappear. It's like, I can just get on a medication for this and I'm fine.
Right. No, it's psychological, because once they know what it is, then they can accept it.
Mm.
When you don't know what it is, it's hard to accept it.
I have arthritis.
Right. Right. And then, when they're, at the family barbecue, they can be like, yeah, yeah, I got the arthritis and. But if you didn't have a fancy word to go with it, you just be like, yeah, on my left knee.
You sound crazy. Just that left knee is.
Right. So, it's pretty wild to see what's happening out there.
I would say that, like, been on calls with a lot of people, and the most healthiest people that I've come into contact with weren't the youngest. They were the oldest, and they did not go to the doctor.
Right.
And these were the 6s, the 5s, the 4s, the 3s.
Right.
It was interesting to me because
On the symptom score of the
Yeah.
analysis.
even
yeah.
talking to them, I was like, okay, so like, what issues are you dealing with? They're like, well, yeah, just, my back hurts.
Right.
I was like, you're 77. What do you
Right.
mean?
Right.
But yeah, they stay healthy. They watch what they eat. They avoid the doctor, and they're doing fine. They just saw you, and they were like, I just want to make sure I'm moving in the right direction.
Yeah.
I don't want to have to go get a bunch of tests done and forced on medications. So that was interesting to me.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the fact that we keep track of a symptom score from the analysis is pretty brilliant. It's like you just have your score, and if it goes up, you're going in the wrong direction. And if it goes down, you're going in the right direction. It's so simple. Everyone can understand it. You're just playing a game of head to toe. It's the head to toe healing game.
Yep.
What direction do you want to go in? But the medical monopoly, you get your diagnosis, which could be completely wrong, and then you're going to get overtreated because you're going to be overdiagnosed. And they're just making so many errors out there. I mean, there's some horror stories, man.
Yeah, you want to read one? You want me to read one?
Yeah, knock yourself out. I mean, absolute horror
Pick
stories.
a random one.
The worst one is the leg. This doctor was supposed to amputate a leg,
Oh, I think
and he had a little lack of mindfulness, and he took off the wrong leg. So that person woke up and missing 2 legs when they went to sleep, supposed to be missing 1 leg.
Yeah, in 1955, a man at a university hospital underwent surgery to remove his diseased right leg, only to find out the surgeon removed the wrong leg. At the same facility, a patient
That's
died
horrific.
after.
That's horrific.
Yeah.
That's horrific.
I've heard the same thing with women that have like the breast sea monster,
Yeah.
and they remove both breasts
Yep.
because they removed the wrong one. Yeah.
Yep. What else you got?
Case 13, you know
Okay.
anything? A 41-year-old woman with severe migraines was seen by a deputizing general practitioner who gave her these long word medications.
A drug. Yeah.
These drugs stopped her vomiting but did not relieve her pain. Her husband, a consultant surgeon, suggested an injection of pethidine, which general practitioner went to fetch from a local pharmacy because the pharmacy had no pethidine. The general practitioner obtained, and this is a lot, diamorphine containing 100 milligrams and administered the whole dose intramuscularly. The diagnosis was reasonable for the pethidine, but it was 10 times too high for diamorphine. The woman went to sleep and was dead within the hour. Wow. The doctor was charged with manslaughter as administering that amount of drugs to gross negligence. Wow.
And he's still out there doctoring because they don't get in trouble.
Oh yeah, he got sentenced to 12 months in prison and suspended for 2 years.
And then he's right back. 3 years, he's right back. Filling out
Legal
prescriptions.
homicide. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's not like it happens way too much because I mean I had a story where I had a PICC line in my arm. That's for people that can't eat. So I got nutrients through my arm, and when I went to go get it reversed, I was reporting that like my arm was hurting. Like I would feel stinging sensation in that area. They kept saying no, no. My mom was like demanding they get like the team to look into if I'm getting blood clots because that was a possibility. They denied it. They just like kicked us out of the hospital essentially. I kept complaining about it. My mom brought me back the next day. They finally did get somebody to look into my arm, and there was blood clots all throughout that arm.
Mm.
And so if it wasn't for my mom, I would have been dead
Yeah.
because I was too weak to even circulate my blood. I barely had blood at that. So
Right.
yeah, they found the blood clots, and then I was put on medication for it. But they just sent me home. When my mom was the only reason why that didn't go. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah, and it's medical error. It's it's an epidemic.
They're tired. They're like
They're tired
sick.
and they don't have solutions. So it's just like it's a dead end almost every time, unless it's an emergency room situation. Even in the emergency room, there's going to be mistakes.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But it's a lot more plain and simple in the emergency room than it is the primary care physician office. That's where the bad stuff happens, the primary care physician's office. And
it's just a sad place too. Like
Yeah.
they're sick because it's like there's germs everywhere. You know,
yeah.
it's like the most contagious place. They're sick.
Mhm.
I just know they're tired. You know, a lot of them can't posture. A lot of them can't stand for long.
Right.
Like I've had nurses come in and they're out of breath, and they're just walking.
Yeah.
But they're tired. They're in pain. It's like it's a sick center. Like literally, a sick helping sick.
Yeah.
So it's bound to be mistakes, I bet.
Now, the biggest case of malpractice is very extreme.
What?
It's this guy by the name of Dr. Harold Shipman. He was in the UK. He dealt with an older audience of mostly women over the age of 60. He was taking care of them. And he must have had a good personality. And he hit it off with the women. And they invited him into their homes. He would make house calls. And he would convince them to take injections of specific drugs. And he would kill them. And this went on for over 20 years. Nobody knew what was happening. I mean, they knew people were dying, but they didn't know why or how. And he finally got caught, and he went to jail. And he became known as the most prolific serial killer in modern human history. More than Jeffrey Dahmer, more than the clown guy. I forgot the clown guy's name. There's a lot of famous serial killers, but this guy, he murdered over 250 women over the course of 20 plus years. Now, is this a normal case of malpractice? No. But the only reason why he was able to get away with it was because he was a doctor and they trusted him. So the point is very shocking but relevant. Because he held the title of medical doctor, he held the respect and the prestige, and these women let him into their homes. it just goes to my point of the programming that the public has towards doctors. You are trained from a young age. Go see the doctor, go see the doctor, go see the doctor. He's a doctor, he's a doctor. Women telling their daughters, make sure you marry a doctor, marry a doctor. You know, there's so many stereotypical cliche phrases that everyone's probably heard in their time. You just go watch a sitcom. Just go watch a sitcom, whether it's Cheers or Seinfeld or the Golden Girls, whatever. I bet you there's going to be mentioning of doctor every few episodes somewhere in there. It's constantly in the fabric of our society. Doctor, 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 doctor. And they program us, they brainwash us to think that our bodies are a car and the doctor is the mechanic. And it's not the case. It's an illusion. And they essentially branded the word medical and medicine, when the real word that they should be using is health. So you're not going to a health doctor, you're going to a medical doctor, which means they have medicine. So it's a dead end. It's a very dark dead end.
I wanted to see if Karen had anything to add, or any of the coaches.
It's a spicy topic, Karen.
Yeah, it is a spicy topic for sure. There's been quite a few comments in the Zoom room, but I wanted to start by just I know somebody that had Crohn's colitis for a really, really long time, and it got quite bad. Bad enough that they had to have, well, the doctor said they had to have their colon removed and about 5 feet of their small intestine. So after that, they were compromised. And then moving forward, they continued to go to the urologist to make sure everything was okay, because they ended up developing kidney stones and other side effects because they were put on an immune suppressor every 8 weeks. That would cost about $6,000 to $7,000 every 8 weeks for over 25 years. But with this, the urologist was saying, since they still had Crohn's colitis symptoms, that they needed to take a particular drug that was for Crohn's and colitis. Well, after taking this medication for roughly 7 years, that individual questioned the urologist. Why am I taking this? And because it's for Crohn's and colitis, you need to take this. And that person said, well, why am I taking this? I don't have a colon. Isn't it absorbed in the colon? And the doctor said, yes, it is. Well, I don't have a colon. Why would I be taking this drug? But he'd been taking it for 7+ years.
Yeah.
And it was causing all kinds of other side effects.
Well, the pharmaceutical company got their money.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But to add on to that story, after that individual figured out that gluten was such a culprit, and they got off of gluten and dairy and a couple other sensitive foods that they had, they were able to completely get off the immune suppressor that they'd been on for 25 years, spending multi-million dollars over 25 years with insurance and out of pockets, deductibles, and things like that, and became pain-free.
There you go.
But unfortunately, the medical system already took the organs.
Right. Right. They're harvesting those organs, let me tell you.
What did they do with them?
That'll be in the book. This is all in the book. This book is one big bowl of cold water, and it's going to wake people up.
Really quick, I wanted to see if Tamara had any stories, horror stories.
I know Tamara's got something.
A little something.
Horror stories. Well, I have my own horror story.
Okay.
Just when just when I was younger, I was really struggling with fatigue where I couldn't function. It was like took everything for me to get out of bed. And the doctors were just like, you're depressed. You're clinically depressed. You're always just going to be below this line. Here, take Xanax, take Klonopin, take antidepressants. And then it, it never helped. It actually made me worse. And for years, I struggled with panic attacks when I was young. And then it wasn't until, I started going down the holistic path that I had a naturopath doctor say, you just have Epstein-Barr and your antibodies are really high, meaning, my body's inflamed and I need to get on the right diet. And, all that damage from those drugs, which wasn't even an issue. So it was just a challenge when I was in college trying to get through that
Yeah.
and having to be on, all those medicines that just probably made things worse in my body.
Mm.
So, and I
Yeah.
think that I see a lot of people struggle with that too, fatigue, and they just tell people it's in your head, you're just depressed, and it's really something going on systemically in their body that they need to look at.
Yep.
Yeah.
PCP.
Yep.
All right. I think it's a good time to go ahead and head over to the members room and see any questions or comments.
I bet you there's a bunch of comments.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Look at that.
There, and I don't know if we're going to get through them all today. So Eileen just said, she said, my father was fighting. He was being incubated in the ER while he was stroking right in front of my face. In a crowd of doctors, one said, paralyze him. A young doctor answered, I don't know what to give him or how much. Whatever they ended up giving him, he never woke up from it. And he
Jeez.
died 3 months later.
Mm.
So sorry, Eileen.
Very.
Yeah. And that's why they carry insurance. You see how insurance is like the glue that holds the whole system together? The patient has insurance, the doctor has insurance, the car that you drove in has it. It's like we're just covered by insurance everywhere.
Mm.
Well, with it too, it's like in talking to people, sometimes they're not quite on the same mindset with making a change with what we do.
Right.
It's because they're still tied into the medical system that they want to participate in the system because it gives them, in essence, kind of a discount because they already pay the premiums every single month. So they're looking for the medical system to provide the solution, whereas they don't realize the medical system is keeping them in the loop, basically the wheel, almost like a rat on a wheel.
Yeah.
That way it continues over and over again with once you get one medication, then you're going to have another side effect. You're going to be back in that office, but they're going to pay for it. So these individuals, unfortunately, want to continue with that process and not get to the point where if I just put money out of my own pocket to get my body healthy, I wouldn't have those deductibles or out of pocket expenses, and I could go for a more catastrophic medical plan versus a maintenance plan.
Right. Makes sense, yeah.
A couple other comments here. Denise was saying there were so many different old soap operas too. For Tomorrow, Guiding Light, As the World Turns, General Hospital.
Yeah.
Even a recent one, somebody was saying there's Doctor House, the Doctor House TV show where
Yeah.
there was a doctor on there where he was on drugs. And all of it is programming us that this is the place you're supposed to go. These are the people that are going to rescue you from ailments.
Yeah.
But that may not be the case.
When I was in high school, it was ER. And then that went off the air. It was a big deal, right? Season finale, show finale. And then a week later, a new show popped up called Chicago Hope. I'm like, oh, they're just They're just like, there has to be a doctor show on TV. There can never not be a doctor show on TV. It's never happened in the history of television.
Yeah.
Even Dr. Doogie Howser when I was a kid.
Yeah, it's amazing how young it starts, the programming.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
St. Elsewhere, Denzel Washington, I think, was in it. Go ahead.
Deborah's in our room and she was saying her brother unfortunately just passed away from chemo. It was a crazy radical surgery, had 23 prescriptions, and in the end, dementia.
Jeez.
So sorry, Deborah.
23 prescriptions.
23. And this is in the book too, but how do you manage 23 medications? There's so many drugs running through the blood of this person that even the doctors are going to be confused.
Yeah.
It's a chemistry set.
There's no way to manage a body like that.
No.
Jeez.
Felicia's saying in the Zoom room that it's really messed up how people get validation from being sick. Sometimes you can't even have a conversation with somebody without looking for sympathy or being ill, being a sea monster warrior or
Yeah.
a survivor, etc. It's just so sad. And it just seems like, I know for myself, anytime I get in business events or just visiting with family or going to, it could just be some random event, everybody's has their conversation of what their ailment is now and what the doctor's prescribing and what's going to be next. And it's just sad to see the disease. It's just so prevalent.
Yeah. Yep. I also wrote about that in the book, and, you know, people become very attached to their disease, and it's a victim-oriented type thing.
Yeah, I got kicked out of my Facebook group chat for putting some of your information on there.
Yeah, they don't want to hear it, man. They don't want to hear it. They don't want to hear anything that could be false hope, which is pretty much anything that's not non-medical,
Yeah.
because they're programmed to say medical is the way. You know, so it's too bad. And then, you know, the disease gets a month and gets a color, right? You got Alzheimer's Awareness Month. You got Sea Monster of the Breast Awareness Month. You got MS Awareness Month. You got Autism Awareness Month, and they all got their own color, and everyone waves the flag, and it becomes a holiday.
Well, not only that, then they have all the walks and the fundraisers, or you're at the checkout stand at the grocery store and they say, do you want to round up your money to donate money for breast cancer or something else?
What's
Oops,
the most famous fundraiser?
Sea monster.
Cancer.
No.
Is it muscular dystrophy?
Yes, absolutely.
Really?
It's Jerry Lewis telethon for 50-something years on television. They raised $2.6 billion with a B, $1 billion. And I don't see any muscular dystrophy reversals on the news, do you?
Well, it almost seems like all that money that's getting raised, it's just a continuous cycle to feed the medical industry, the farm industry. They keep running.
Didn't Jerry Lewis get fired because he got his reversed?
It's sort of a rumor that Dr. Wallach and the lawyers brought the information, and then Jerry Lewis, you know, it broke Jerry Lewis's heart and he couldn't do it anymore. I don't know how true it is, but I do know that muscular dystrophy is called white muscle disease in animals, and they reversed it a long time ago, which makes farmers smarter than doctors.
Yeah. Yeah, there's this weird movement going around on social media. It's young people, of course, but where people are trying, like doing taste tests with dog food.
What?
They're
Okay,
like
where
trying
you,
this dog food. They're like, yeah, this is great. I could eat
what?
this. But in the comments, people are like, it's crazy, but the dog food, it has way better ingredients than any of the junk foods you could possibly think of.
Well, yeah, they're supplemented.
They got supplements. They
It's
got,
like taking the 90 essential
yeah,
nutrients. It's
literally.
like drink your dog food, members.
They were saying they felt better.
Of course. Of course.
I don't know if I would do it, but I just thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah. What else you got, Karen?
Well, we're coming up to a quarter before the hour. So one thing I was wondering about, I've been getting a lot of questions from people about how they can get into the membership. What are the first steps? Because they don't want to miss out on this $55 a month membership before we raise it.
Yeah.
So can you explain that a little bit more so the people that are new just tuning in live can understand how they can reach us and how they can benefit?
Yeah. I would say the best first step is to call drreese.com. Go to that website and you can set up a call with my coaching team so that you can talk it through. What are your symptoms? What's your story? But while you're waiting, there's a web class there that you can watch. It's only 30 minutes long, and that will describe to you what head to toe healing is, and you'll see some of our testimonies and understand that we have the most ever in the history of cameras, and that's a really important understanding. And I get DMs all day, and most DMs are from people that don't understand. They're asking me medical questions, and that's how I know. I told one person today, I was like, because they're like, I have high cholesterol and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, look, you should get familiar with the work. And they're like, no, I'm familiar. I'm like, no, you wouldn't be asking that question if you were familiar. Just, read the books, go to the YouTube channel, warm yourself up a little bit.
There's growth in the homework. Like, it's not, people think that when we say, yeah, you're not ready yet, you should go into these other sources. It doesn't mean you're not going to gain anything from those other sources. Like, the book has like challenges within the book that you can access for free.
Right.
Starting off with the Pour Four, like there's plenty of other things that you can do to get familiar with us and also help yourself at the same time. We're not just throwing you back in the ocean saying, figure it out.
Yeah.
We're giving you a roadmap first. You have to understand it if you want to benefit from it.
Yeah. www.calldrreese.com. Schedule your call, and then when you're ready, you'll do your analysis, and we'll figure out your symptom score and show you all your root causes, and then, you'll be on your way. Should we go to socials?
We have a lot more here in the Zoom room. So we have a couple questions off topic. So we have we have Dusty in the room, and he's saying, I know this isn't a typical question. This might be one for Tamara. Isn't a typical question, but I want to get it out here. Is there anyone that talk about my dog having spinal degeneration or mineralization in the spine? He's a Frenchie bulldog and only 4.5 years old.
Yeah, anyone can have degeneration of the spine. Yeah, we have a pet rescue in membership, so that would be a great path.
And then one of our members is saying, is it natural for the knees to freeze from time to time after doing regular posture therapy?
Well, I wonder what they mean by freeze, though.
Maybe locking up?
Locking up. I mean, all sorts of crazy things happen when you're doing PAT. because your muscles move bones, and you're aligning your muscles so your bones are gonna move. You know.
A lot of people are commenting in here how they've known individuals that have had either the wrong limb removed in a surgery
Ugh.
or objects left inside the body. And somebody else was saying that it's often very common for doctors to cover for their buddies.
Yes. Yep. Little brotherhood. The white coat brotherhood. In fact, when you graduate med school, there's a whole ceremony. You get your white coat.
And Ken's in the room. He was saying he'd like to chime in a little bit on a bad surgery and diagnosis
Sure.
if we have time.
Sure.
Yeah. Hey, guys.
Hey,
Good to
Ken.
be here. Thank you. Hey, Doc, I also have to ask you if you can do anything for the New York Giants. We'll talk about that separately.
That's an easy diagnosis. Go ahead.
So I believe that I Hashimoto's came from a hernia surgery because all my symptoms appeared after, and I just never felt right, and I don't know what happened. And obviously, it's not something I can prove, but I remember trying to talk to the doctors and whatever. But I'm dealing with it, and it's okay. I mean, what are you gonna do? But I just and it actually made the hernia situation worse. But we all know that postural therapy can help that as well. And a friend of mine, my wife and I, he just had hernia surgery. He came home from the surgery. He was fine. That night he went to bed and he never woke up. And really good health. And, so it's just, as you know, my brother's a doctor, and I've talked to him about some of this, and it's like I'm speaking a foreign language. He just doesn't want any part of it. But he's my brother, and I love him. And I like you said, I see the pain that he has from being in the profession he is. But one last thing about the diagnosis, I think a lot of people like getting a diagnosis because they want, like we've talked about today, they want the attention, right? They want the attention. It's like an approval thing. They feel like recognition. And the other side of it is when people don't know what's wrong with them, the fear of the unknown is a mindfulness like miscue, right? Fear of the unknown is like you're just not dealing with that fear. So if somebody tells you what the problem is, you don't have to be afraid of the unknown anymore, right? So it's a double-edged sword, man. It's brutal.
Yeah.
And the medical community has been, living on that prayer for hundreds of years, and people are programmed, as we talked about. And you're very courageous and accurate on how you explain all that. So thank you.
Thank you, Ken. Thank you for sharing.
To add on to that, we're so programmed with the medical system that we're looking for that reassurance, that diagnosis, or at least that's the way most people, their perspective is. But until they find an alternative with head to toe healing, they don't know there's other options out there. And that's what's so refreshing about the program and membership that you've put together, because it deals with the whole body and it gives people an opportunity to try a different path and with less risk. And they can get their body in the place it was designed to be, where it can start to heal itself. It was designed to heal itself. So give it the right nutrition, give it the right structure, posture, and nourish that mind through mindfulness training. And it just all begins to fall into play. Of course, we're not going to be the same we were when we were 10 years old. But if we can improve how we feel by 10%, 15%, 30%, and function better in life, it's truly amazing.
Right on.
Absolutely. Thank you, Karen.
Sure. We should check with Tamara.
Poor Tamara. She's just
I know.
over there watching Harry Potter movies.
Oh, come on. I have to say that I'm having some technical difficulties with Instagram. So if people had asked questions, it froze up, and I don't only have the ones that were posted in the last few minutes. let's see. I have someone asking, what are the most important vitamins to take daily to stay healthy, in your opinion?
Well, there's 16 vitamins out of the 90 essential nutrients, so there's too many to name there. But we aim for our members to be on all 90 and the 91st, which is collagen.
Patricia wants to know, can you help a child who's 8 years old that has severe constipation, was given medication and now has seizures? They were referred to a neurologist and now foresee meds. Can you help a child like this?
Well, not technically. I mean, you would have to help the child. You have to learn the information. You have to get the education. You have to get the understanding and then do it yourself. Nobody's coming to save you. That's one of the things that I try to convey in the DMs when people contact me, but it's very difficult. But everyone's programmed to go see the doctor. So they look at me as the doctor. But they're treating me like their doctor. And I'm just like, no, we have to break that. Only you can save you.
Elizabeth wants to know, how do I free myself from my cravings for alcohol?
Just never do it again. Easier said than done, right? That might be something where you want to just starve the beast. Go keto or carnivore for 60 days. Just get off the carbohydrates. Cravings will go away.
And Barbara wants to know, I know you're not discussing this tonight, but my right knee collapses. I have a herniated disc. I wish somebody could help. Maybe you can please let me know how.
Well, first of all, you'd get the analysis so we can see your root causes. And then you would enter the membership and you would start working on it. And within somewhere in 4 to 6 months, you'll probably be pretty happy with us. But you more so you'll be happy with yourself because you'll be doing it yourself. We don't do anything. We're information givers.
Iris wants to know if the membership is exclusive to U.S. citizens or open to anyone from anywhere.
Anywhere in the world. We have members from U.S., UK, Australia, New Zealand, starting to get a lot from South Africa. Yeah.
And Paula has a comment that she's actually lost a few pounds being off the poor four foods.
Nice. Well done. Keep it up.
Someone's asking, who's new, what are the poor four foods?
Gluten, oils, fried, and fake. GOFF. Goff.
James is asking, hey, Dr. Reese, I have a friend who has seizures a lot, and what would be good for her? They had to take her to the hospital this morning.
Well, you have to get her to want to change. That's it. That's all you got to do. Get her to want to change. And then you call drreese.com and do what you got to do. But you can't help someone else.
Let's see here. Someone's commenting in Instagram, I had a stent fitted in an artery in my heart, but it's pinching another artery, which is spiral shaped. So it's straightforward to the stent. And now I'm struggling with angina now.
Yeah. Well, this person's in medical prison, so it's hard to, break them out of that. But, they should want to follow the philosophy of getting healthy from head to toe and just let their body work it out.
Um, Someone wants to know, hi there, do you consider synthetic ingredients in supplements fake food?
No, not really. I mean, it's a tough subject because there's so much context involved. You know, you can get so many nutrients from all sorts of different sources, like calcium. You get calcium from 5 different sources. Magnesium, you get it from 5, 6 different sources. So then it matters who's claiming that it's synthetic. I know your blood doesn't know. Your blood just wants to deliver the nutrients.
So this next question, so someone's asking, do you believe we all need supplements? I have a friend who is raw vegan and they are against supplements. They say we can get it from food. What do you believe? There's so much opposing information.
Yeah, you absolutely need supplements. You cannot rely on the soil. The soil is depleted. It's been depleted since we turned the switch on for electricity because we started damming rivers. So, yeah, I think not using supplements is a horrible, horrible mistake for any human being. Now, there might be a few exceptions depending on where you're from. Like maybe you're from an area in Costa Rica or Greece or something that has better soil. But even still, I look at supplements as real health insurance.
I think you might have triggered some people there.
Good. That's the whole point of me being alive.
Someone hung up on me because I suggested that we were promoting, supplementation.
Yeah.
They got very upset with me and hung up.
Yeah.
And then
yeah.
kind of, yeah, that was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was really me just messing with you.
Probably in a different voice.
I was doing
right?
a voice. Yeah, AI voice.
Australian accent. That was you.
It was Levi. Levi can do an Australian accent.
Always putting jokes on me.
I'm waiting for you to do it.
No, you're waiting for me to do it, huh?
There it is. There it is. Yeah.
I got a question on YouTube. So someone's asking, why are the rates of Parkinson's disease exploding around the world?
The rates?
Yeah. They were diagnosed at 45.
Yeah, Parkinson's is obviously a lack of cholesterol, lack of fat, combined with a postural issue. So, yeah, it's in my book, Reverse the Cause. It's just, yeah, Parkinson's is all over the place now. But it can be reversed. Nobody wants to hear it, though. Just reverse the cause.
Do we have time for a couple more members' questions?
Sure.
So Eileen's asking, my daughter's boyfriend was born with diabetes and takes insulin. He's heard about and considering a new stem cell transplant trial in Switzerland. Have you heard about this?
There's lots of trials out there. I think you have to be careful with trials. You have to find out who the sponsor is of the trial. If the sponsor is the drug company, then it's probably not the direction you want to go.
My whole thing with stem cells, it's still not addressing the root cause. You can get everything healed up, but if you're still doing the same things that caused your disease in the first place, then you're going to get it again. I mean, it just doesn't make sense to me. You can heal it up as much as you want. $30,000 trip to the stem cell facility, but what's it going to do? It's just like a medication at that point, pharmaceutical.
Yep.
We have another question here from Felicia. She says, where do supplements come from if not the soil?
Oh, I mean that's a whole dissertation. I mean that's some serious science right there. We'll have to make a video on it or something.
And Nancy is asking, what do you do for plantar warts?
Well, warts are typically a blood sugar issue, but obviously there's things you can put on it to help. Well, try some pineapple juice.
So one other thing I wanted to just add for the people that are new, maybe recent followers, another thing you can do to find out more about head to toe healing is go to Amazon and get Peace Over Pain, Dr. Reese's book, his flagship book. And that will really give you a strong overview of the philosophy and how we look at the whole body.
Yeah, I'm gonna put a chapter in the new book too about it.
Oh, great.
It'll be a shorter version.
Have you heard of duct tape for plantar?
Well, duct tape will take anything off. That stuff is powerful, man. You get a haircut with duct tape, man.
Might be a little painful.
Yeah, I just shaved that, but I use duct tape. I just
No.
I think that is a wrap.
Okay.
I mean, there's additional comments in here, but we're at what, 7:03?
Yeah.
It's flown by like normal.
Always.
found a new toy.
You can bring those questions to the Thursday meeting if they want to get them answered. Excuse me, had a hiccup. Well, folks.
You know what a hiccup is?
What is it?
It's a muscle spasm.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Man, that's the diaphragm. It's like,
Could be. Yeah.
uh,
Yeah. So for everyone out there that's new, just call drreese.com. Get on the phone with the team. Talk it through.
Talk to a coach.
Yep. Talk it through.
Well, everyone, thank you for tuning in. We appreciate our members as always. Love you guys.
We should go another 3 hours. Let's go another.
Yeah, you can. No, I'm joking. Thank you guys. We'll
Thank
see you guys
you.
next time or on Thursday.
Thursday, PAT class tomorrow.